What's more grim than the North? Conceding a 93rd minute winner in the North. This is Blue Monday. Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast covering all things Ipswich Town since 2015. My name is Mikey Pensy-Smith, and joining me tonight to look back on last night's game at Burnley, Seb Brown, who was there, and David Diamond, who, like me, was listening on Radio Suffolk. How are you both? How was your trip to Burnley, Seb?
It was all right, thank you, mate. I'm thawed out. I'm just keeping my eye on the comments for Mullet to, I assume, unleash a tirade of abuse at you for the anti-Northern opening that you just delivered. But no, it was all right last night. Thank you. It was good.
Excellent stuff. And Dave, a refreshing listen.
It was, old school. I mean, we all know the Brenner and Alex Maffey partnership isn't necessarily the most successful partnership, but and ultimately, spoiler alert, so it proved. But no, it was certainly a lot more positive than I have heard it over recent seasons. That's for sure.
And I'm going to come out and say this straight away. So tonight is very much looking back on the Burnley game and discussing, obviously, Ipswich in general. There is another show in 24 hours' time, isn't there, Seb?
There is, yeah. The pre-match show will be live this week, tomorrow night. We can't do Friday because I'm travelling back. So this time, same time, tomorrow night, same channel. The socials will get updated tomorrow. So for the Sheffield Wednesday preview, 8 p.m. tomorrow night with me and Rich. So we'll have to be on our best behaviour and not mention it too much.
He said the S word. I can't believe it. He said it. It's
like the Blue Monday swear jar. So please do join in with your questions. And where possible, try and avoid too much conversation on Saturday's game. Because like I said, we're going to be back tomorrow. What a treat for you all. 2 Blue Mondays in the space of 24 hours. It's almost unprecedented, isn't it, Dave? But not quite.
Not quite, but yeah, almost. Yeah, it's something to behold. A real treat, as you said.
And let's say hello to some of the guys that have joined us in the chat. Charlie D, always so punctual, isn't he, Seb? Charlie D. Tony Miller, good turnout at the turf last night, you noisy buggers, and well played. Up the Clarets. Yeah, good luck in the next round, Tony. Thanks for the kind words. I think there's a lot of good feeling between the two clubs, isn't there? After 2 decent cup ties, by all accounts. Gary Haseman is here. Evening, folks. Mullet, I did bring up his comment first as a peace offering. Watch your lads. Keep away days, Northern. Burnley's a good away day, isn't it, Seb?
It is, yeah. It's one of my favourite ones. Although the stadium's had a bit of work since I was there last time. Yeah. When I was there last time, it was wooden seats in the away end. It's like Goodison Park, but that had all been upgraded, and it's got lovely new LED screens all over the place. If you're an LED lighting company in Burnley and you get the contract for Turf Moor, you're made for life. It was very, very different. 6-7 years ago, I think I was there last. It's all corners have been filled in, and it looks absolutely astounding. And it's a nice ground. I went to the fan zone first. I had a mate there who's a season ticket holder at Burnley, so I met him in the fan zone. Jim from the Telegram group came with us, and really, really nice people, very welcoming, and a really, really good away day.
Yeah, and really good acoustics as well, Seb.
The atmosphere was great. Yeah, it's what the North Stand should be, shouldn't it? It holds the sound in there in that roof, and it helps that we've got a load of Burnley fans to the left of us as well in the same stand. So you've kind of got that interaction between the two sides. But a great following for a Tuesday night, it has to be said. I've not seen what the away attendance was, but I think it must have been about 1,000 or so. And from minute 1 and 45 seconds, the atmosphere was brilliant and didn't stop all evening, and it was very different to what people were saying it was like at Cambridge on the terrace. It was a great atmosphere and a really, really good night.
What was so there was 11,500 wasn't there last night? What is the ground actually, what's the capacity now?
22,000, so it's half full. But it's a big old stand. I'll be interested to know what the difference in capacity is from that stand behind the goal and the Sir Bobby Robson stand. But there we are. Sir Bobby Robson stand does look nice, doesn't it? Even if it isn't the best for atmosphere, or maybe we're just fixating on it and making excuses. Michael Warner, good morning all from Brisbane. A cool 22 degrees at the moment, but expected 35 today. I mean, the weather's been great here last couple of days. It's been cold, but blue skies. Romeo's here. Eric Clacton, Justin Rose, Pebble Beach. Yeah, brilliant result for.
Fantastic seeing back. Yeah.
And Neil Perks is here. Tony Miller says, "You're welcome." And he says, "In our end, still wooden seats." So there we are. And Mullet says that Turf Moor's had more work than Jackie Stallone since we last went. Not sure I know that reference, but that might be my ignorance rather than my lack of years. So before we get into the Burnley chat, there is one little bit of news that doesn't directly affect us, but that is that the Plymouth goalkeeper Michael Cooper has suffered a season-ending knee injury. Now, Dave, we wouldn't wish that type of injury on anyone, and this is undoubtedly a blow for Plymouth, and subsequently might be good news for us.
Yeah, look, it's terrible for the lad. I mean, he is young. I didn't realise he was that young. He's like 23, isn't he? It's terrible. You know, he has been the standout. Probably ultimately now, obviously Whittaker's gone back to Swansea. He's probably been their standout player. Absolutely, what a season he's had. Probably, well, started before then, but you recall the ridiculous save he made from Walton's header right in the last minute of our game up there, and he's just been so consistent right the way through. So. Yeah, really unfortunate. Wouldn't want to wish it on anyone, but for the other promotion-seeking sides, yeah, it's a plus because he will be a big miss for Plymouth.
Arguably the best goalkeeper in the division this year.
Oh, I think without question.
I think so.
Without question.
And all the stats back that up, don't they? Was he saved? Was it 12 or 13 goals that he should have conceded?
Yes.
He's way out ahead of everybody else. Like Dave said, you'd never wish injury on
on
anybody. And if they do go up, having lost him and Whittaker, I think Rich put it in the Telegram last night, they will have really deserved it, won't they? Because they've got a few injuries mounting up now. I think Dan Scarr, the centre back,
went off as well.
Ennis, I think, is out as well. So they're they've lost a few key players recently, and hopefully we'll be in a position to take advantage.
It was a really innocuous one as well. He's just challenging for the ball, jump for the ball, and just as you see with these things, they often are innocuous. Just landed, and his legs seemed to sort of just landed, awkwardly at an angle, and his legs just seemed to give. I think it's an ACL. It's like an 8-month job, isn't it? Potentially.
We thought our Saturday was disastrous, didn't we? Drawing at Cambridge, Plymouth losing against a rival, albeit narrowly, but losing a really crucial part of that team as well. But we wish him well.
No,
Eric
absolutely.
Patterson
Great
just
keeper.
said that Patterson hamstring as well. I'm guessing that's Callum Patterson, the Sheffield Wednesday utility player.
Scored, didn't he? He scored the winner, didn't he? I think.
He got an early goal, didn't he, against
he scored the winner,
Spurs at the weekend, scored the winner.
Yeah.
And Mullet says, speaking of injuries, Luco and Lee look great since coming back. Absolutely. And that brings us nicely onto the Burnley game, and no real shocks in the team news, was there, Seb, for that one? Quite a lot of changes. I suppose the main shock was that our captain was still picked.
Yeah, we were umming and ahhing, weren't we, in the match day chat about suspensions, because he has been booked twice. But apparently, if one of them in the FA Cup, if one of them is before the third round, it's wiped apparently. So that's why he was able to play. And I guess we all kind of expected Luongo might get his first start since coming back, because we knew Evans was going to be missing, but he's got a knock. It came out in the post match that McKenna said, and obviously Morsey was the surprise alongside Humphreys. Apart from that, I think most of it was what we had predicted. I like the Wolfenden and Edmondson partnership again. I still think they are our best central defensive partnership, so it's a good chance to give them a bit of a run out before the crunch game at the weekend. And the rest of it picks itself. Clacky's the cup goalkeeper. Hurst, a good chance to get more minutes into him, and the likes of Aluko, Harness, Jackson, Lee. You can top them up with minutes. I have to say, I saw it a bit more as a back three at the very start. I kind of thought it was more similar to what we played for the kind of the second half of last season and the first maybe dozen or so games of this season. I saw it as Danastian as the kind of the right centre back, and Jackson and Lee were the up and down up the wings. But in the game, it did evolve and go back to kind of a back four that we've seen more recently.
Indeed, always a treat to see Aluko. Although obviously we didn't get to watch him last night. Dave, always great to have his name on the team sheet, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just different class, isn't he? Albeit in perhaps only in short bursts. At the moment, but we'll get to our goal. It's just a thing of beauty, wasn't it? Just ridiculous.
It was indeed, and some pretty big hitters in this Burnley team, although they made a lot of changes as well. Some quite a bit of Premier League experience in there,
a lot.
and a lot of classy EFL players as well.
Yeah, very, very strong. And I think they made, was it 7 changes from their win at Norwich? I think they said 7 changes. So yeah, still, looking through that side, yeah, still a very, very good side.
Very much so, and they certainly looked the part in the first couple of minutes, didn't they, Seb? You must have been anticipating a long old night.
We were, yeah. The atmosphere was brilliant, it has to be said. And within, I think it was 40 seconds, 50 seconds, we were 1-0 down. It's a bit easy for them, this goal, to be honest with you. We kind of get turned over in the middle of the pitch, and Donatian's out of position, and it's Maatsen, the young left back. I think he's on loan from Chelsea. He went bombing down the wing and played in Lyle Foster, the £10 million striker they signed before the third round game. Edmondson commits and forces him to kind of delay his shot. I thought Donatian just got a foot in, but it just rolls across the 6-line box to Teller, who's there to lash the ball into the top of the net. And yeah, 45 seconds on the clock, I think everyone in our row kind of went, oh no, this could be a long night, because we'd all seen what Chris Sutton had put 5-0 in the BBC predictions, and we'd all been thinking, I'll be honest, I thought Burnley by a couple of goals last night. And my mate who was there when we saw the side, he said, oh, it's a bit stronger than I was expecting. And I was kind of thinking, oh no, here we go, this could be a very long evening. And yeah, they carved us apart, and it was a very, very lively start.
It's quite poor from Wolfenden there, 'cause it starts with like just a hoof from their half, and Wolfenden sort of gets the ball down easy enough, controls it, and then just gives the ball away cheaply. I know he's perhaps caught cold, he's 50 seconds in, but he gives the ball away cheaply, and I think it's to Cork, who then just gets possession, plays it forward. But yeah, it's a good break, and I think Seb's right. I think Donatian does get a bit on that, but it just falls perfectly for Teller, doesn't it?
Indeed. And Tony, well, probably a first-time listener on Blue Monday, unless have we played Burnley in the Blue Monday era, aside from the first round?
I reckon we must have done in the early seasons of Blue. Yeah, must have done early Blue Monday. Surely,
it was like they were in the Premier League forever, though, didn't it? But yeah, he says he thought he was going to be able to go home early after 45 seconds, but we came back very well. We did, didn't we, Seb? It was a really incisive move, fantastic play from Aluko, and just good decision making from Jackson.
It was. The play from Aluko was absolutely fantastic. That first half, he was on it. My mate was in the Burnley end, texted me and said, when did Shawnee Aluko become prime Lionel Messi? He was just the ball control, the close control, the touches, the awareness were absolutely superb. So yeah, the Donatian's breaking in the right hand channel, plays it into Aluko, who I think it's Jack Cork. He just slips past him, takes a touch, knocks it past him, and then the ball, the weight of the pass to pick out Jackson's run down the right channel, takes out 3 or 4 players. Jackson's in behind. You're not going to catch him. We know how quick he is. He's got goal side of Maatsen, and he puts it across. And is it an own goal? Is it come off Hurst? Who cares? It doesn't matter. We go absolutely crazy. George Hurst is off the mark, and an absolutely brilliant instant reply. And the atmosphere goes up another level. But that goal is all made by Aluko, and his touch and his awareness and his just absolute quality. That ball played through to Jackson to run onto was absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
Dave's shaking his head every time he talks.
Well, honestly, it was. You look at back. I've watched it back 3 or 4 times, and it's just a sublime bit of skill. The bit of skill just to give Cork the slip was good enough, because he does it first time. He sort of gets it out of his feet, out of the outside of his foot, and just the weight of passes. Who plays ball? David Silva type pass. We've seen him. We used to do that all the time for Man City. Just absolutely unbelievable bit of skill. And I think Seb's right. Obviously, we didn't see it, but right through the first half, Matthew was saying, Aluko's is on a different level at times to everyone on the pitch at times. But sadly, he's not 3 or 4 years, or 2 or 3 years younger, perhaps. But a great, as you say, a great riposte. And you'd give it to Hurst. A little bit dubious, but I think you'd give that to Hurst probably.
I know that Aluko's playing at a lower level with us than what he played at previously, but do you think it might be a case of he's finally getting to play in his best position? Because in the past he was quick and skillful, so he'd be put out on the wing. But he just looks so classy when he drifts inside for us, doesn't he?
It's just he really does. Yeah, he's just little cameos. Sean, our good friend Sean, on the Telegram group, does every game, so does the worth the admission money alone and worth the admission fee alone. And that was probably the moment last night.
That was worth the license fee alone, wasn't it?
The license fee, sorry, worth the license fee. Yeah, absolutely.
And there was one bit as well in the first half where he picked up the ball in the kind of the touchline in the right back position, and he kind of just turns his man down the line, knocks him out the game, and then does almost like one of those. Do you remember the Jermaine Wright spin against Bergkamp in the Premier League season? He does a little one of those to beat another man, and then just taps it inside to Morsey, and he was properly on it that first half. He was absolutely different level to anything else on the pitch.
Michael Warner says the goal shows that Luco should always start or be on the subs bench. It's a difficult one, really, isn't it? Because Chaplin plays in his position and Chaplin is so productive. And Luco, for all of his class and secondary assists, doesn't get enough goals. Maybe it's not fair to say he doesn't get enough assists. He hasn't played enough games this season, really, has he? But maybe just doesn't have the same goal threat that our other players do. But maybe is there a way of finding a way to accommodate him, maybe a change in formation if he plays sort of a little bit deeper, perhaps, like he did at Gillingham away last year, for example?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I tend to agree. I'd always try and shoehorn him in on the bench if he's fit and flying like he was last night, because he, as Seb quite rightly said, he just gives you something different, doesn't he?
Gary asks, was the Aluko touch as good as when he left Downs for dead in the West Ham friendly?
I didn't see that one. I'll have to bow down to your knowledge. I didn't see that one, but it was an absolutely superb moment. I'd always have him on the bench as an option, because I think no matter how the game is going, he always kind of fits. You know, if you're looking to hold on and see out a lead, then he's the player that can put his foot on the ball, and you can give him the ball in tight spaces, and he's going to control it. He's going to keep it. He's going to play a simple ball. And equally, if you're looking to push and get a winner, then he is capable of those through balls that we saw last night. So for me, he ticks the boxes to always be a bench option, because he is a game changer. I think he's an absolute class above.
He did have one game this season when he came on and he wasn't very good.
Yeah,
fairly recently, but I can't remember what game that was. Might have been Plymouth.
I think you're right. Yeah, the ball was but I think you're right, because who I sit with, we're commenting actually his first touch wasn't there, with the ball was bouncing off him and stuff. If it was going on, but yeah, maybe we'll get to it after, but maybe perhaps an outside bet for a start on Saturday.
Maybe, and we've got a Blue Monday historian in our midst here. James Ruddock says we played Burnley second game of the season in August 2015, probably the third episode.
There you go, James. I thought we did. Did we win 2-0, James?
I think we did. I think we did. McGoldrick
that was
it was a Tuesday night, wasn't it?
We won 4 straight, including that Millwall win, I think, wasn't it? I think, yeah, it was. Pretty sure Kieran Trippier might have been playing for Burnley as well, but I might have got the years wrong. Possibly.
Did he amount to anything?
Really? Did he buggered off to Spain, disappeared, didn't he?
Paul M says Aluko wasn't great at Oxford, but the game didn't suit his style. I think maybe that was the. I think there might have been a home game in there as well.
Yeah, I thought maybe.
So let's get into the rest of the first half. We've only covered the first couple of minutes there, haven't we? So we more than hold our own for the rest of that first half. A speculative effort from Greg Lee sails over the crossbar. Harness has a decent shot saved by Peacock Farrell. All told, a fantastic first half, Seb. There was a couple of half chances for Burnley as well, but what a reaction, not only to that early goal, but a reaction to Saturday's really poor performance.
Yeah, it was, at half time. After 45 seconds, we're all fearing the worst, but we get ourselves back into the game and we were the better side, I think, in that first half. I don't think many Burnley fans would dispute that. We went toe-to-toe with them. Some of our patterns of play were excellent. The one that resulted in that Harness effort, where he kind of drills it from the right-hand side of the D, was a great passage of play. Lee gets forward and he finds Hurst. Hurst lays it off. Some really, really good centre-forward play from Hurst last night. Big and strong and holding the ball up and getting others in and around him. And it was exactly what we needed after the weekend. I know there was some debate going into the game about it being a bit of a pain, because some people wanted a free week of training up until the Wednesday game. And was this game a distraction? If we got battered, was it going to be a further knock to the confidence? But I think that first half, really got the Cambridge result out of our system. The away end was superb. There was, I think proud was probably the overall feeling at halftime, because we had gone toe to toe with, a side that are 20 points clear of third in the Championship and who are going to be back in the Premier League in a matter of weeks. And yeah, a really, really good first half performance that gave us great hope going into the second half. And yeah, fantastic night. Really, really good first half.
Indeed, positive stuff. James Ruddock says, yeah, you were right, by the way. McGoldrick and Sears scored on that Tuesday night. Apparently it was a beautiful Tuesday night as well. So yeah, that's one to remember up in Burnley. Hladky back in the team, made a decent save early in the second half with Teller striking a powerful cross shot, similar to the Greg Lee one, but from the other side. Our best chance of the second half comes soon after on the counter-attack. Now, this is a really nice move again. Humphreys plays the ball up to Harness, who does a nice little half-turn control, but gets taken down. But the ball falls perfectly for Greg Lee, and he's so positive. He just drives forward. And Jackson, again, his movement is good. And his touch is good as well when Lee cuts it across to him. But he can't, he's on his left foot, doesn't get loads of direction on that shot, Dave, but a decent effort from Jackson. Good centre forward play. I know he wasn't in
great
centre forward
really
position,
great centre forward play, because his first touch gets him the opportunity. His first touch has to be right there, and Lee actually pings it in, doesn't he? Really good centre forward play. And I think, yeah, he gets a good strike on it. It's quite powered, but obviously hits it to Peacock Farrell's near post, where if he can get his foot around it and go across him, perhaps there's a better chance of scoring. But pretty much does everything. I wouldn't criticise him for that. Pretty much does everything right there. And to be fair, Seb, a half decent save actually. It was quite low down, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. That was the moment, because Burnley came out the blocks. We kind of thought Company's going to get into them here at half time, and they came out the blocks pretty well in that in the first kind of 15-20 minutes of the second half. We were hanging on a little bit, they were really starting to gain a bit of momentum, and that came on the break. And yeah, Lee's in acres of space, and Hurst made a really good run to the far post. I kind of thought he was going to play it early, but Jackson's there. That touch takes him away from Charlie Taylor, and I think he does pretty much most things right there. I guess you could criticise maybe go across the keeper, but he's done everything right, and I think it was a good save, to be honest with you. And that was the moment, wasn't it? That was the chance whereby if we'd gone 2-1 up there, having weathered the storm from them in the first 15-20 minutes of that second half, then I think we would have gone on to win the game, because their heads would have kind of dropped a little bit. But that's football, I guess. I don't really criticise him there. I think he did everything right, gets the shot off, and it's just a good save from Peacock Farrell.
Yeah, if it was on his right side and he hits it at the goalkeeper, maybe there could be a criticism, but it's on his weaker foot. And as you say, Dave, he creates the chance for himself with that fantastic touch.
Really good. And from what Seb obviously was there, but certainly from the radio commentary last night. Well, there you go. He seemingly had another. Jackson had another good game. Again, willing, unselfish running, and generally a very really good game again.
He was superb. He really was in that. Sorry, Mikey.
I was just saying that's a comment from Jose, for those listening, said that Jackson has been classed the last 2 games he's played.
Yeah. He was great in that inside right, in kind of the Wes Burns role. He was an outlet all game, and then it was quite obvious when Charlie Taylor had the ball, we were sort of standing off a little bit, and then when the ball went over to the right of the Burnley's defence, that kind of triggered the press, and straight away you had the front four, Aluko, Harness, Jackson and Hurst were pressing so well, and Jackson's pace was such an outlet all game, and it was noticeable that when he got knackered in the second half, he kind of went down with a bit of an injury, then he kind of played on for a little bit longer, but he was clearly starting to run out of steam. That's when we kind of started to get penned back a little bit. And yeah, I thought he was absolutely superb for the time he was on the pitch. A great outlet, and he's kind of found himself a role there, hasn't he? In that sort of Wes Burns replacement. I mean, the pace obviously terrifies players, and yeah, I really like him when he's running that inside channel, because on the whole, his decision making, like we saw for the goal, tends to be pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, yeah. I mean, he's definitely more suited to playing against the more possession-based teams, isn't he? Where we play a little bit more on the counter-attack. I know he had a really good game away at Sheffield Wednesday as well, didn't he? And he's done well twice against Burnley, who are a good footballing team. Chaplin, Adapo, and Broadhead then come on for Harness, Aluko, and Hurst. I think fair to say a strong performance from all 3 of those.
Yeah, they were all outstanding. I thought they just noticeably tired. I think from about the 55th minute, Aluko was kind of done. Jackson, like I say, went down. He got a bit of kick in the first half and went down, and then he went down for some treatment in the second half, and their race was run. And then I thought that was, that's probably one of the best compliments we can have, is that at the same time as we brought on those three, companies bringing on like Josh Brownhill and stuff, first team players in the championship coming on to try and Goodmanson comes on to try and win the game. Ashley Barnes comes on. I know he's not featured that much for them this season, but these are established players who played in the Premier League for so long, and he's having to bring them on to get the job done, which I thought was a real great testament to our performance.
Well, all those three players I think were involved beating Manchester United at home only a year ago. So,
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Not really sure what point I'm making there, but
I mean, is it fair to say that what came over on the commentary, though, Seb, is fair to say that put Ladapo to one side, but Chaplin and Broadhead didn't have any effect on the game at all, did they?
No, not really. No, it noticeably dropped. I mean, Hurst's centre forward play was outstanding for the however long he was on the pitch for. So strong holding the ball up, and we did lose a bit of that when he went off as well. But yeah, Chaplin, I think, barely got a touch or so. Broadhead did some decent running with the ball, but yeah, the outstanding ones were the kind of the three that went off.
Both were very quiet at Cambridge, really quiet. Chaplin especially was really quiet at Cambridge. Just not nowhere near the levels he has been. And yeah, Broadhead was a bit. Well, just didn't feature really. Just didn't hardly ever landed on the ball at Cambridge, to be fair. But yeah, let's just hope it's a sort of slight blip for Chaplin, because he's been superb, hasn't he?
He does seem to do that, doesn't he? Do you remember, was it September he wins like the player of the month? And then I think he went, was it 10 games without scoring? And then suddenly in December he's firing again. So he's one of those players, isn't he? That, he is one of those players that kind of peaks and troughs.
You wouldn't call him streaky, would you? But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Maybe wouldn't be a huge shock to see probably wouldn't be a huge shock to see one of them drop out on Saturday. But that is something that to be discussed tomorrow night, Seb, in your pre-match show tomorrow night, live on the Blue Monday YouTube channel at 8:00 alongside Richard Woodward. So yeah, Goodmanson, as we mentioned, came off the bench, has a couple of decent efforts. One well blocked by Danassy, and another one saved by Hladky. Carl Edwards then comes on for Jackson. Really good night for Jackson. But by this stage, sounds like we're clinging on. And in injury time, Seb, our dreams are dashed.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, we're kind of falling deeper and deeper once the subs were made, and yeah, I think it's a foul on Wolverhampton. Barnes kind of leads with his arm, and he wins the flick on. Ashley Barnes is so experienced, isn't he? And so, he's played at the top level for so many years. A bit of experience backing in. Could Wolverhampton be stronger? Maybe. If that's a Burgess or an Edmondson, then you fancy them probably to go toe to toe. But yeah, the flick on goes through, and Teller's there in the right place at the right time in the 94th minute to slam the ball home. And whilst we're all very disappointed to be going out the cup, we're all very proud. And I'll be honest, I was freezing at that point, so I wasn't too disappointed that there wasn't going to be another 30 minutes of the game. Yeah, Eric says there, was it a foul? I thought it was in real time. I've watched it back. He does kind of go with his arm, but I think our centre-back needs to be stronger personally. I want, the centre-back to stand up to him and clear that. If that's Burgess, I think he just, he's brave, stands up to him and he clears the ball. I just think Wolverhampton got done a little bit there.
Yeah, look, I think Wolverhampton's fantastic, had a fantastic season. Just an excellent footballer, but it's not the first time he's been found wanting in those situations this season either. I think you're right. I think there's certainly contact there, but it's a bit too easy. Looks a bit too easy to me. Good finish by Teller, isn't it? He gets across. Really good finish. He gets across Danassy, and it's Danassy ball watching maybe a bit. I'm not sure, but he gets across him, and it's a really good finish. And again, Hladky's got no chance with that, as he is a great finish, actually.
No chance. Yeah. One thing about Hladky as well, that's the first time I've seen him since when he was, the first choice under Paul Cook last year. And with the ball at his feet, he's absolutely superb. And no time even when he's pinging it, left and right in the area to Edmondson and Wolverhampton and people are closing in, at no point do you kind of feel, nervous or apprehensive about what's about to happen. So he's come on leaps and bounds since I last saw him. I thought that was a really, 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 really good performance from him again.
Yeah.
Mullet says you're a wuss, Seb. We'll move on.
I'm the wuss. Brilliant. Okay.
Tony Miller says, I couldn't understand, or maybe he's saying it about Wolfenden, but I'm pretty sure it's in reference to you being cold.
It probably is.
Tony Miller says he couldn't understand why we seem to time waste as we were knackered, another 30 minutes wouldn't have been any good for us. It's funny how teams do that in cup games, isn't it? He's totally right, but I guess we probably were just trying to take the sting out of the game a little bit and didn't really quite have the energy to try and score. They probably just wanted to regroup, get some energy drinks and gels on board, and then go for it again.
I mean, put that in perspective. Just an answer to Tony. You know, what an absolute dream season they're having. As you said, almost 20 points clear of third. Fleetwood at home in the 5th round of the cup.
Yeah.
What a season!
Yeah.
Wow, enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it.
Mullet clarifies, definitely Seb.
Sounds about right.
But yeah, what a time to be a Burnley fan. Probably not expected by many people. Quite a left field appointment of Kompany. Not an expert on the Belgian Pro League, but he didn't win anything with Anderlecht as far as I'm aware. But obviously a fantastic football brain and
also
I
think we should mention. I know it's easy to say after you've won, but spoke so well about us again. It's good, really good to hear that.
He's a class act, isn't he? He's a real class act. You can tell he's come through under Mancini and Pellegrini and Pep, and he's got a real touch of class about him in all the post-match stuff, hasn't he?
Brilliant.
Here's a question from Tom Bradford. Please do keep getting your questions in. Tom asks, do you think we're more suited to play on bigger pitches at bigger grounds? We've got Derby, Barnsley, Bolton and Milton Keynes to play. We seem to struggle at the tighter grounds recently. I don't know if have missed some of this off or it doesn't show up here. We seem to struggle at the tighter grounds. We might be able to play is how it finishes. But yeah, I guess he means might be able to play better football on those bigger pitches. Do you think there's anything in that, Dave?
Possibly. Cambridge is a bit weird. Cambridge is just long. Cambridge has got like another half a pitch behind the goal in front of the away fans. I've never seen nothing like it. First time. Well, I think I might have gone there years ago for a friendly. I mean, out really years and years back. But so that was quite bizarre. But yeah, no doubt about it. Definitely something in that. We like to get the ball. Obviously, we like to get the ball wide, be it Burns, be it Jackson, be it Davis, Lee. So yeah, I'd certainly say there certainly is something in that.
And this nice message popped up earlier on from Graham Turner, who's a Plymouth fan. He says he loves the show. That's really nice of you to say, Graham. It's great that we've got a Burnley fan, a Plymouth fan. There's probably a Sheffield Wednesday fan or two in here as well somewhere. And unusually, there's no Darlington fan. But Graham says, got money on you guys beating Wednesday on Saturday. Good luck.
I bet you have.
Hopefully, we'll be able to do you a favour.
Yeah, I hope so. God dear.
Yeah. So how would you reflect on the FA Cup run, I suppose, Seb, this year? Maybe way better than expected.
Yeah.
But maybe no massive highlights either.
Oh, I mean, I think when we look back at it, we've kind of rounds 1 and 2 were, sort of almost gimmies, weren't they, in the opposition that we had to face, and we were professional about it. Rotherham, I thought, would be a decent test to use as a barometer for where we are. I think at the time we were probably still second in the league, obviously looking to move up to the Championship automatically. So I thought that would be a decent test against a side that's pretty established, and we effortlessly dispatched them. And then these 2 Burnley games, I think, have been brilliant for the confidence, because we have gone toe to toe. Okay, I know they've made some changes and some squad players and some new signings, but we've still gone toe to toe for 180 minutes against a side that is 20 points clear and is going back to the Premier League, and we haven't looked out of place. And I still maintain that if a side comes to play football against us, I don't think many would live with us. It's the other side of it we need to get right, where we're struggling to play the sides that dig in and make it horrible and ugly and look to frustrate us. And yeah, I think the cup run's been a positive. It's been nice to have one. How many years have we never been in the 3rd round, let alone the 4th round? So maybe a slight missed opportunity, given that Fleetwood beat Wednesday last night, and that would have been a home game going into the quarterfinals. But proud across these two games against Burnley. I don't think you can take anything but positives from them, to be honest.
Yeah,
indeed. And Dave, you echo that as well, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best FA Cup seasons
I really,
for 15
I really
years.
do. And it's the FA Cup, and over the years, you say the FA Cup's been devalued, and look, let's face it, we don't really want to see ourselves playing in rounds 1 and 2 for much longer. Hopefully not. But look, it's just been nice to win some games and actually get to the 4th round. And look, within a squeak of getting to Fleetwood at home in the 5th round. So I think it's just been a good experience. Players got some minutes. Minutes yesterday. So no, I think it can only be positive. Hopefully, touch wood, we haven't picked up any injuries as such from last night. I don't think we had, maybe 1 or 2 minor knocks by all accounts. But yeah, I think after, certainly last night, after the low that, let's face it, was Saturday generally, especially the first half. I think, as Seb said earlier, it was important to put on a really good performance last night. Yes, some of the side will change, no doubt, for Saturday, but yeah, just to get some confidence back, I think, because the players looked low after Saturday as well, I thought.
Yeah. And I as fans, I think we must feel more confident now going into the Wednesday game than if we'd had a free week and that Cambridge game was still in all of our minds. You know, that
a bit of a
last
hangover.
night
It'll help with the atmosphere as well and things like that, won't it?
Yeah.
Neil Perks says some of the players last night gave McKenna a lot to think about for this Saturday. There's a chance 6 or 7 of last night's could play against Wednesday. I guess it's probably right. Over the course of the 90 minutes, I'd probably unlikely it'd be as many as 6 or 7. I suppose there was 2.
I mean, without going too far into, I think we can, because I think we can gently dwell on it. Probably, you'd think Wolford and Edmondson will start at the back, wouldn't you? Saturday, I would have thought. Obviously, you'd think Davis would come back in. What about Danassian last night? I mean, again, they saying he was very good on the radio. Does he start Saturday and Clark on the bench Saturday? So yeah, there's some. I mean, personally, just throw this in, like I said earlier. Does Aluko start Saturday? I think there's a fair shout for that, probably after his performance last night.
I think it's probably a big ask for him to do 2 games in quick succession. I mean, he was goosed at 55 minutes. So I think he'll definitely be on the bench though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Warner says, after playing so well, how do you think Lee, Humphreys and Jackson will feel if they drop out of the first 11 or possibly the 18? I mean, there is a danger that Lee misses out entirely
in the squad. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It just shows the absolute strength of the squad. Probably be harsh on Jackson. Wouldn't you agree, Seb?
Definitely, yeah. But then we said in the Telegram group earlier, Wes Burns is a big game player, isn't he? The winner against Pompey, the winner against Derby, scored against Plymouth. He does turn up in the big moments. Yeah. I guess he's a doubt injury-wise, so if he is out, then no issue Jackson coming in. But if they're both fit, then in the big game environment, you probably do want Burns. And Humphreys will be an interesting one, won't he? Because presumably Longo was injured, Evans is going to be out, so he might well start again alongside Morsey on Saturday, I assume, if Longo's out longer term.
We haven't touched on that. Seemingly all sorts of rumours about Evans, certainly in our Telegram group today. Don't know if that's been confirmed yet, has it? I don't think. Press conference.
I've not seen any confirmation anywhere, no.
No.
What are the rumours?
So yeah, you'd think if Luongo's got a knock, I wouldn't have. Well, it's an obvious choice. I wouldn't have any qualms about putting Humphreys in there alongside Morsey.
What are the rumours about Evans, Dave? Just for
I mean, potentially I say a bad one, but maybe not just potentially missing Saturday, maybe out for a few.
And you heard about that on the Blue Monday Telegram, didn't you, Dave? Which
nice segue. I did.
Which people can sign up for. They get 2 weeks free, and they can come and see what it's all about. And if they enjoy it, then they can join us. All of the information for that is on our website and on our Twitter page. Stephen Beale says, hopefully we can carry the positivity forward for the rest of the season. Yeah, it would be nice if this was a season sort of changing week. Guess it could be, couldn't it? I mean, it feels a bit silly saying that after a draw at Cambridge and then a defeat at Burnley, but you never know.
Yeah, hopefully, like I said, the away end was superb last night, and it'll be amazing atmosphere on Saturday, sold out. If we can get a result there, then sometimes you look back at certain seasons, certain weeks in a season where you think that's when it all started to change, and hopefully we'll have liftoff.
A says too many were bullied against Cambridge. Different game than playing against Burnley. In that case, do you worry about Humphreys?
but what's the alternative? You know, what is the alternative? I mean, I've seen mention of sticking Clark in there, which would be interesting. It certainly gives you
that's not really McKenna's style, though, is it? You can see
certainly
Mick
would give you
McCarthy
some
doing
physicality in there. Goodness me! But look, if both the one go and Evans are struggling, then yeah, I don't see past Humphreys in there, and he trusts him as well, doesn't he? And I get the thing about physicality, but yeah, these players, I mean, he's shown he can compete. I think he's just got to step up.
Absolutely, yeah. Please do keep getting your questions in. I think we'll probably wrap it up soon, and obviously Seb has got to do 2 games in 2 nights, so we've got to protect Seb's legs a little bit as well, haven't we, Dave?
We certainly have. Just a quick, and again, we can dwell on this really quickly between us 3. Do you see Hurst potentially starting Saturday, or do you think Ladapo will come back in, Seb?
He was excellent last night, Hurst. I have to say, he's just looking sharper with every game. He was so strong. Some of his centre forward play was brilliant, but I think Ladapo will be the one to start, given, you know, he's played really well recently. He's moved his game up since Hurst came into the building. And also, Ladapo's got a crazy record against Sheffield Wednesday as well from his Rotherham days. It's one of those teams that he really likes scoring against. So I think it'll be Ladapo, but I think Hurst is now pretty much at the level whereby, you know, if he were to come in, there's no more kind of getting up to sharpness. He looked bang on it last night.
It's quite funny with Ladapo, because I went to Cambridge, and in the pub beforehand, you know, you obviously the away fans in the pub. Ladapo's becoming a bit of a folk hero at Portman Road now. Every other song is a Freddie Ladapo song now. Well, you probably saw that in the away end last night, sir.
Yeah, there were loads last night, and I love the way that when he scores, all his teammates are on Instagram with the DJ picture of him and stuff. Yeah, he's becoming a bit of a cult hero, a bit of a
cult hero.
Bit of a slow start, but he's absolutely firing now, and he's played so well recently. I think he's one of those players, you know, when he comes off the bench, he kind of struggles a little bit to get up to kind of the pace of the game and the tempo of the game. So I think he'll start, and then if it gets to 70 minutes and he's kind of, you know, run them ragged a bit, then what a player to bring off the bench. Hurst, now he seems to be up to full fitness to, you know, go head to head with them. I think that's going to be a really, really strong part of the squad for the next 2-3 months.
Yeah, personally, I think like long term, Hurst for me is the better option up there. But Ladapo, probably going to contradict myself now. Ladapo's the man in form. Yeah. He's scoring goals, and he's not just about the goals either, is he? I know Hurst isn't either, but he occupies defenders. He makes intelligent runs when he's on it. I think it would be difficult. Maybe if Hurst scored again, maybe if he scored 2 goals last night, maybe it'd give McKenna a little bit more to think about. But
or dare I say it, maybe even two up front, maybe even 2 up front. Sorry.
Yeah, come on, Dave.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know.
Getting ahead of yourself there, I think.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
And Michael Warner says Freddie never looks good coming off the bench. He's a better starter. Aside from that Portsmouth game, of course, where he rattled one in,
rifled one in.
Generally, you're spot on. He looks a lot more comfortable starting, and the same could be said for Marcus Harness as well.
Yes.
He's not.
Who again was excellent last night as well. You know, snapped into the press and led from the front. He was excellent, Harness, last night. One of his best games, I think, in recent months. Certainly since he came back from the injury. Definitely his best performance since then.
And Edwards, he obviously he came on for a quick cameo last night, but an impressive second half performance against Cambridge from him. But do you think it's difficult for him to get in that starting lineup? But unless he plays in the position that Broadhead has been occupying, but then you'd think Harness would come in there.
Potentially, but we've now seen, Edwards can give you that impact. He is a player that can give you that impact off the bench. So, I certainly don't see him starting Saturday. But I would certainly hope he's on the bench. That's for sure.
Jose says 10 out of 10 work rate. Hurst, he's spot on. I was really impressed with Hurst actually in the time that he was on against Oxford away. I know it was a poor performance, but I thought he led the line really well. Mullet says Ladapo for me, hat-trick off the bench is difficult, but sure Ladapo can manage it. Right, we're in the territory now where there's not much left to talk about other than Saturday's game, so we'll keep our powder dry now. I think we'll call it a night here. Thank you very much, everyone, for the questions. Please do join us again tomorrow night at 8:00. Rich in the host chair, and Seb, I believe you're catching up with Rich on the predictions, aren't you?
Oh yes, mate. I've got him firmly in my sights. He'll abandon the feature soon. I'm surprised he's not done it yet, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I think I've won the last 4 weeks, or the contributor, sorry, has won the last 4 weeks. There was a technicality where Joe won and he said it didn't count or something. But yeah, I'm clawing back space. The hunter has become the hunted, or whatever it was Paul Lambert said. So tune in 8 o'clock tomorrow. I better go and do some research about Sheffield Wednesday. I shall do that in a minute. And tune in 8 o'clock tomorrow to find out all about the big game on Saturday.
He'll ditch that for ex-manager impressions. You know it's coming. You know it's going to come.
Yeah.
But hang on. Michael Warner's done something that I've failed to do, and that is come up with another question that doesn't really relate to Saturday's game. So I might as well read it out. Are we ever going to see Edmondson move over to be on his better foot and maybe see Lee as the second centre half on the left side? I think the Lee bit is unlikely because of Burgess. Because he's probably the natural option for that. But maybe Edmondson moving over to the right side.
That's his more natural. That's his more natural side. And again, this was. I think this was spoken about Saturday, where certainly first half, where perhaps the ball to Davis was somewhat lacking because it wasn't. He didn't have a natural left footer actually feeding those balls into him wide. So yeah, I think perhaps there is a shout for that. There is something in that. Yeah.
And I think David Bergen was a little bit on the drag, as we say in Suffolk tonight. He was a little bit late joining, but what an absolute gent. He says hello. He drops that €5 super sticker. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks everyone in the comments. It's been a nice, enjoyable show. From our perspective, hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. Please drop us a like on YouTube if you've enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll go to Seb, I think, for the... let's go to Dave for the final word, because Seb's back tomorrow.
Yeah, look, let's hope for great atmosphere. I'm sure it will be at Portman Road Saturday. Sheffield Wednesday are going to come. They're going to be loud. They're going to bring 2,500 or maybe even more probably. So yeah, looking forward to a good game Saturday. But hopefully we come out on the right side of 3 points.
Absolutely, up the town.